Hello everybody, I am Silva and this is Amber Rose Kandarian and we are here with Prospect Group Real Estate Investments. This is where we talk about all things real estate and how to make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money? We all want to make more money. Today's topic is real estate listing presentation. It is important if you're a listing agent or a buying agent or even just in the real estate industry for you to listen to this information because this is how you differentiate yourself. So please, before we get started, subscribe, like, comment, stay tuned, share this once you've watched it. But before we get started, I want to talk about Amber and her expertise in this space because really you've been in all sides of sort of real estate. You spent some time as a real estate agent, now you're in acquisition. Talk to me about the difference real quick.
So I came into the industry as a luxury real estate agent, doing the buying side and the selling side, and then I transitioned into being more of like a traditional real estate agent, and then into what I am now, which is I'm in charge of acquisition. So I'm in charge of acquisition. So I purchase from agents now, and I buy and sell real estate deals directly as an investor and as an acquisition specialist. So I've seen many different sides of the coin.
What does real estate listing presentation mean exactly?
So a listing presentation, I kind of call it's when the real estate agent comes into the seller's home and tap dances. That's normally what it is, because they do this whole show, especially like with the luxury brokerages. They're really about like the big glossy images, and we're gonna do this, and we have this photographer, and we have this videographer, and we know these famous people, and we're gonna do a party, and this is how we're gonna market your property. So a listing presentation is kind of like where they see the value of your property, what they're gonna do to market the property, and how they're gonna sell it. And usually they're going up against multiple agents, so they're trying to show how they are the best real estate agent for the job. That's pretty much what a listing presentation is.
What do you have to be the one who's chosen as the tap dancer for that?
Good question. So you have to have the relationship, right? Some people will pay for leads, and the leads, they'll be seller leads. And so like a seller won't know an agent. They'll fill out a form, and then the agent will pay Zillow, for example, to get like a listing lead, and they'll call them up, convince them to have a listing presentation, go to their house and do the listing. Now, I think a lot of I'm just gonna go off. Yeah. I think a lot of young real estate agents I know for me, when I was first starting out, I got really caught up in the listing presentation. I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted to compete with everybody else. And I think what happens in a lot of listing presentations is the real estate agents really focus on, they want to do this incredible job. They want to have, they want to like show the seller that they're very smart, they're very connected, they're incredible. Like I said, it's like they're tap dancing, they're like doing this whole show and dance for them. When at the end of the day, I think a bigger portion of the sellers, they just want the agent to uncover their pain, and they want to figure out how they can solve the pain. Usually the pain is they want to sell the house as easy as possible for the highest amount of money. It's not always the case, but that's typically the situation. So I think with the listing presentation, some agents run into the issue of focusing on the actual presentation, and they forget about their client, the seller, and really tapping into the emotions of the seller and what's going on with the seller and how they can be a problem solver. So I'm more of like an investor acquisitions now. Like I buy a lot of deals instead of doing the listing presentations. But I do notice that a lot of agents focus on that it can be, listing presentations can be incredibly expensive, where it's like a huge presentation, glossy photographs to get the listing. But the most important thing is like when the agent gets the listing, they need to make sure that the seller understands the value of the property and what the price needs to be. Because if you're off on price, it can be a huge waste of time. Some agents will argue that it's good because they can use that listing to market themselves. But other brokerages will say no, because they're having to put tons of money into marketing. And if somebody thinks the property is worth 3.5 million, but the market says it's worth 2.9, that can be a huge waste of time for the listing agent. And I think that's where a lot of agents go wrong, is they're very focused on getting the listing, and they're not focused on understanding the pricing of the market and making sure that the seller is on the same page as them, because the seller can cancel the listing agreement at any point in time, even if the agent has spent their entire life savings on a marketing presentation. So in a nutshell, that is the listing presentation. I've been a luxury listing agent. I have been a regular listing agent. And I've also been an investor and acquisitions and dispositions manager, director. One of the things that we're doing in the market today, which is fascinating. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So at Prospect Group, we spend a lot of money on leads. And sometimes these leads are sellers who are they have their property listed on the market with an agent, okay? So what they do is they go around the agent who's done a bunch of work on the property, done the marketing. They've gone around the agent and they look at Zillow, they look at Redfin, they think, I can sell the house. My agent should have already sold it. It's day 2. They'll call me up. They'll try to get a cash offer directly from me, the buyer. And what I will do is I will reach out to the agent. I will say, hey, your seller called me. They're trying to go around you to get a cash offer. I just want to let you know. And then we usually build a relationship with the agent, because some sellers just want they just want a direct offer. They don't want to go through the listing, all that stuff. But a lot of sellers don't understand in that listing presentation that is an option. So because of that, I would say in the last 2 quarters, we have reached out to all the agents that we work with, and we're always looking to work with agents. And I tell them, I say, hey, when you go into the listing presentation, don't just do your traditional listing presentation with the glossy photographs and the marketing plan that's traditional, but also say, hey, Mr. Seller, I also have a cash offer from a local accredited buyer that will just buy it on the spot for X amount of dollars. So there's 2 options for you, and I've already brought you a buyer, because most agents don't have a real buyer in their pocket when they go to these listing presentations. And that helps to differentiate them in the marketplace. And it also prevents the seller from, once you're on the market and the agent has spent all that money on marketing, it prevents the seller from going around the agent and calling me and trying to get a direct offer and just cutting out the agent. Because to me, that's one of the saddest things that I see in the marketplace, because the agents do a lot of work, right? There's a lot of stuff that you don't get to see on the surface that the agents are doing. And that's why whenever we get calls from sellers and the property is listed with an agent, we always tell the agent, because we understand what they're doing, and we understand that sometimes the seller doesn't understand everything that they put into it. Also, legally, we have to do that if it's listed on the market. So I think that's important to say. It's really important that the agent presents the direct offer from us, the cash buyer, and does their traditional listing presentation, so that they don't have to worry about the seller going around the back once it's on the open market. Because I would prefer that than getting a call after we've paid for a lead and then them trying to, because some investors are not like us. Some investors will go around the agent and do a deal directly with the seller and cut the agent out and say, this is how you cancel the contract so that you don't have to pay anything. So I just want to add that to the thing before I forget. Sorry, what was your question?
The question was, not everyone would actually honor that. Not everyone would honor the work of the presentation the agent has made, all the work that has gone into all the tap dancing, all the glossy photos, all the marketing, everything, and time spent, right, to get this listing, to then only lose the listing to the buyer going to a cash seller going to a cash buyer. So it is also important to say that this is what we do here at Prospect Group. Integrity is one of our main core values in this company.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true in all investment firms.
Right.
And that's not to badmouth anyone. This is just the climate of the market. It is an intense and very competitive business, and everyone does business their own way. But it is important because if you're an agent and you're a listing agent and you're going to do a presentation, you want all your bases covered. There's nothing worse than spending your time and effort and money to then end up with not having a return on your investment.
Yeah.
So with that said, thank you for all of that information. That's extremely useful.
Well, and that happens a lot. That's the sad thing, is a
Yeah.
lot of agents, and this is something important, a lot of agents, they assume if they got a listing and they spend X amount of dollars on marketing, it's a done deal, and that's not true. There's many expired listings, canceled listings, where they lose tons of money. And that's why, like, if anybody ever wants a cash offer, we can give you a cash offer in 1 to 2 hours. I can underwrite it. You just say, hey, Amber, I need an offer right now. It's urgent. I'm going to go on a listing presentation. You give me the address or the area and tell me information about it. I'll send you our proof of funds, the actual bank statement, and then you write up the offer, because you always would represent us, and then we'll let them take it from there. And that doesn't a lot of agents don't do that, and I feel like agents are always looking for an upper hand on the listing presentation, because it's never one agent. It's very rare that there's one seller, one agent. Usually it's one seller, one property, and literally like 10 agents. And the only way that these agents sometimes can stick out among the crowd is doing the presentation, but also bringing an offer.
Yeah.
Just being like, how many of these agents...
this is great. So if you are a listing agent and you've been looking for that differentiating factor in your presentation, this could possibly be it, is, building a relationship with a company like ours, Prospect Group Real Estate Investments. That's where you find us. Building relationship. And the reason we keep pushing this is because this is actually happening, right? We have relationships with agents all over Southern California that call Amber directly and call other acquisition managers here in the office directly, and who ask for an offer before they meet with a seller, or come to us and say, we have this available, would you be interested? So with that said, thank you so much. I know you've got to go.
Yeah,
So this is another great episode.
Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and make sure to send Amber a note if you have a deal, especially if you have a listing presentation coming up. What did you say? You said you can probably...
I can give you an offer in 1 to 2 hours if you're about to go on a listing presentation. All you have to do is just call me up, say, hey, I have a listing presentation. I'd love a cash offer. I'll send you my proof of funds. I will send you the offer, and then you will represent me. And sometimes we even let you relist if we renovate the house.
There you go. So if you are interested in working with us, all of the information you need, including how to get in touch with Amber, will be on the bottom of this video. And if you're listening to us on podcast, I'll make sure that's there as well. All right. Thanks for watching and listening to another episode. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Amber.
Awesome. Thank you.